Good weekend. Came out as planned. Again, everything I kind of said after the game, I kind of feel like I saw the same thing on videotape. Just saw it in slow motion as opposed to fast motion. But great team win. Obviously, offense did a great job holding on to the ball and sustaining drives. I think 41 minutes time possession. Defense only had 36 plays. It was a little scrimmage for them, I guess. So should be fresh for this week, practice and for game days. But, just good stuff. And then obviously we get into Cincinnati week, which we've turned our focus last night after a team meeting. And really good Cincinnati team. I think they're got the number 5 offense in the country. Coming in here, scored a lot of points, explosive, at the tailback spot and at wide receiver. Emory Jones is our quarterback transfer from Florida to Arizona State. So much for one-time transfers. I guess he was a grad transfer, I'm guessing, into Cincinnati, his third school. But great player, athletic. I don't know if he's Malik Cunningham, but really athletic. And again, we know Scott Satterfield, who we faced a couple times already, and really, really good coach that will be another challenge. They do a good job scheming you on both sides of the ball, and defensively, they're a 3-4, so kind of some carryover from this past week, which is good. And they got this nose tackle, Dante Corleone, I believe, nicknamed the Godfather. It starts with him and the defensive end, Briggs, are 2 really good players for him. So, questions?
After having a chance to watch the tape, do you have any further analysis on Phil's play?
You know what? I really liked Phil's play a lot, and so did our staff. He played clean. And, again, I'm just a, not very smart defensive coach, but when I sit in, like I said, I continually learn. I continue to learn from Coach Signetti when I'm sitting in there listening. I'm like, that makes a good point. But I know some people will complain about an incomplete pass. Everybody wants them to complete every pass. But when you watch the tape and you watch the end zone tape and you watch everything and again, you talk about an uneducated quarterback guy. For me, you watch and you hear Coach Signetti coach, and this is what a good coach he is, and just talk the details. And penetration inside for quarterbacks is an issue. And when you see some of his bad balls, if you go back and look and rewind it, Jerry, I know you'll be doing that right after this. Go back and rewind, watch tape. I mean, a lot of his throws are when there's pressure and there's someone in the A gap. You don't mind the edge pressure, where a quarterback can step up in the pocket, but when you can't step up in the pocket. But overall, I thought he had a hell of a game. We were happy with where he is, and we're only going to keep getting better, not only at quarterback, but at every position.
That is that pressure coming up from A gap from a team like Wofford, something that you guys have to clean up?
No question about it. It will get cleaned up. They did, just a couple things that we didn't prepare for, whatever, but, we'll definitely be a lot better prepared for that.
You brought up Scott Satterfield. Based on what you've seen so far from Cincinnati, anything stylistically match up between what he does now and what he did at Louisville? Yeah,
very similar. Very similar into year one of it, though, I would say. Big outside zone team, but I'm not sure they like outside zone against us, but it is their favorite run play. They do a good job. They're going to go back and look at games from the last 3 years. They did it, at Louisville, and they kind of copycat some stuff, that you can just notice. You're like, oh, that's a play that we saw against Miami back in this day, and you kind of go back and look and go, they did a good job copycatting. So, we'll do a great job self-scouting, going back to, every, team that we played that, that has an athletic quarterback and kind of just look and see, hey, what did they think they could get on us? Where's our weakness? What are they trying to attack? And so they do a good job like that. So, there'll be new stuff we see that they'll kind of, take from other teams.
Wide shoot looks that you've seen for some teams to go after you guys?
Yeah, we saw. They did that last year. I don't know if you remember. We covered it up pretty good. So you're on it. They did that last year to us at Louisville. That's just one of those copycat plays that you talk about that they took from Miami when Mallory went up the middle. Usually you can get us once, but usually you aren't going to get us twice. So we do a good job at self. Oh, you're done. Whoever's tape recorder this is, it's a mess. Good luck to you. Here, EJ, I'll let you fix that. You better take good notes, whoever this is. You better take good notes. That's yours, Jerry?
No,
oh.
Mine, right here.
I'll hold on to it for you, Jerry. But
don't you always say that the biggest opportunity for improvement is from week 1 to week 2? So what are some of the highlights of what you're keying on to make those improvements?
There's a lot of things. I mean, I'll start with the real obvious is, making sure that our gunners, when they go down on punt team, and Caleb Junko had a great day, but we ruined his day by squandering an opportunity to have him down inside the 5-yard line at least. But just going back and getting better at that, and I mean, that'll get cleaned up, immediately. Got cleaned up last night, and hopefully they get it. But sometimes you have a good sky punt guy that goes down and does his job, and sometimes it's new guys. We had a couple of new guys in there that, like Trey Tipton used to be the best guy at that. Like, you knew Trey was going to go down. He did it, really, really good. So we just got to get back to that. But that's just one, major thing that, turned into a major play, in my opinion. And we lost, we lost 25 yards of net punt. But there's so many things on offensive line, on the defensive line that we'll just clean up. Way too many to get into, Larry.
Is Jones, is it design runs, or is he just scrambling out of trouble?
Well, it depends if they're copycatting or not, Jerry. But he likes to scramble. I mean, if he doesn't like it, he's taken off and he can run. They got some quarterback draws in. Quarterback draw is a new thing probably that they got in the offseason. They weren't a big quarterback draw, with Malik, but seems to be a lot of quarterback draws with having routes out there, RPO-ish stuff. But so they've got some new stuff in there. We've seen plenty of draws through the years. So we'll be okay there, but not a ton of quarterback power and all that stuff. But we could see they copycatted a little outside zone, quarterback outside zone that Georgia Tech ran against us last year, and they came up and did it and didn't have a whole lot of success. But they'll have a play off of a play.
Yeah, their offense only returns 1 starter. Their defense only returns 3 starters from last season. A lot of these guys that are starting for them now came in through the portal. How hard is it to scout teams like that when it's an entirely new roster of kids from all over the country?
Yeah, I mean, they have 3 transfers on defense, and then they got 8 on offense. So 8 of their 11 starters are transfers, which is amazing. And they're good players. I mean, they came, from Miami, from Florida. I mean, they got Dave Wiegans is from Miami that we've played against before. So they've got a lot of talent. They're, Kiner, their tailback, who's, a Cincinnati kid, transferred in from LSU. Really good football player, had an explosive up the middle. Nobody touched him. Really good players. But, you got at least a game tape on it. It would be a lot harder if we opened up with them and didn't know, you're going back watching their old school or old high school tape. But, kind of like an opener with a lot of those guys. You're not sure how fast they are, you haven't played against them before. So never easy when you don't get to play against guys and you don't know who they are and what they do.
Matt, what did AJ Woods do to the top kick returner spot on the depth chart this week?
He should have fair caught that one in the end zone, so I don't know what he did to earn it or lose it, one or the other. But we'll have a conversation with AJ. But he's just been consistent. He can run. You've seen him take interceptions back for touchdowns in championship games. So just a guy that that we trust back there. But that can be. We've got probably 4 or 5 guys. I would say probably our number 1 guy was Bub Means to put back there, but we didn't really want to put Bub back there, just a receiver. And leave him there. So, he maybe, was a starter going into it, and then we just thought, like, what do we want to do here? Like, that you may see changes there too. Who knows?
You got 4 guys listed as starters on the defensive tackle. Are you looking for just 2 guys to separate themselves? Would you have those top 4?
No, I mean, if you watched long enough and through the years, we do a good job. Those guys are all. I could give you a bunch of oars right there. I don't know if there's oars on it or not, but it could be, Jules or Devin or Bentley or, there's a lot of oars there. We got, 5 guys in there that are oars, and that doesn't mean we don't know who it's going to be. That means they could be either or, just like Marquez and AJ and Marlon. Those guys, Marquez. Those guys are all starting quarters. The oars mean they're all starters. We're good with all of them, but I got to put something under so they don't look like. Backup, I guess.
You mentioned you would do some nitpicking yesterday after you looked at the video. What kind of nitpicking did you find the offensive line to talk about?
Can't tell you. I can't, I don't know. We'll see.
How did your offensive line play?
They played solid. You rushed for, whatever we rushed for. What did we rush for, AJ? 200-some yards? 217. Gave up 1 sack, which, the linebacker came off the edge, and, Gavin, we just got to do a better job coaching. I would put it more on coaching than on Gavin. But, Gavin, the guy he was blocking on the edge, sort of a gap protection, went inside. He could have let it go and then picked up the backer. We kept the quarterback pretty clean all day.
for a few years, and now obviously with Coach D'Antonio. I mean, when you go back to those days, what was the biggest, I guess, point of emphasis that you took from Cincinnati to help you along your coaching career?
I don't. Cincinnati's a great place. Cincinnati's kind of like a Pittsburgh. I don't know what I took from there. It's been so long ago, I'm so old. But when you look at it, I mean, Cincinnati's a tough team. This is what I take from it. Cincinnati's tough. They're physical. They got good football players. They'll be hungry coming in here. That's what I take. I just know that the DNA is very similar to a Pittsburgh kid. It'll be a hell of a game. With them coming in here. So I can't. The lessons. I coached against them back in the old Wanstead era, and Dave is 2-0, so they had some great players, and made plays, and we didn't make plays back in the day.
How would you describe the River City rivalry?
I don't know.
You were
it's
there
an old
when
rivalry.
when this was
It's an old
invented.
rivalry. I don't know. I mean, it's a rivalry game, I guess. I don't know. Or at least it used to be, right? When we were in the same conference. We're not in the same conference, so I don't know where that is. I haven't really thought about that. I was worried about their personnel more than a trophy. The trophy really doesn't matter. Never will matter to me. But we'll see. I don't know if it'll be here or not. I don't know if our kids know what it is. It's been a while since we played them, and just focusing on executing and playing well.
How did Javon and PJ do, and how different will the challenge be this week against this offense?
Well, it's like the competition just keeps getting better every week, I think, and Cincinnati's got talent at receiver. I mean, if you had to look at one of their strengths, it's going to be the receiving core. They're all new guys. They all can run. They're all SEC or ACC guys that they, transferred in, whether it's Louisville or Miami or Florida. Their work will be cut out for them. But PJ, I thought, played. I mean, really, they all played well. I mean, PJ played well. Into the boundary. I think Javon played well as well. And then when you look at Donovan McMillan played well. I mean, those are the three guys that stood out. Steph Hall wish would have made a tackle on that last play, but wish it didn't get to that. But that's the game, and that's where you learn.
How do you grade your safeties when they don't take, a team like Wofford doesn't take as many deep shots, when it kind of limits how much? I mean, you said they only have 36 plays. How do you grade them when you're able? You only have such a.
We'll grade them on 36 plays. That's all we can. I mean, I can't grade them on 76 plays. So, but you can't grade them. It's not deep shots, but you saw them run some out routes, and our guys are there making the tackle. And if they're running a 10-yard out, we expect that safety to go make the tackle. I mean, if he's making it, if he's running a 10-yard out and turning up the field and gaining 10 more, then we got safety issues. So that's how you grade it. So we're going to grade. I mean, every pass doesn't matter if they threw it or the safeties were targeted or not. Like, we know these guys like to run big boxes on our safety, so we're going to get tested this week. They'd like to run, the slot receiver on fade routes, getting themselves a lot of space, and so they'll see those this week. That's something through the years that they liked, and I would assume they're going to continue to try to take some shots, whether it be, out of 12 personnel or 11 personnel. I mean, those are things you're going to see.
Pat, you spent a couple of years with Coach Manilak at Cincinnati. Did you see a future linebackers coach and defensive coordinator and see him rising through the coach ranks when you had him back then?
No, I was hoping he'd rise through the the depth chart and earn a scholarship like he did. He's a competitor. He's tough. He's physical. He's smart. And he's a Cincinnati grad. I told some of the old linemen yesterday as I walked in the team, I said, "You guys got to get after Coach Manilak, find out if we can trust him this week or not." Just jokingly, but. No, you don't know what these guys are going to do, but he was going to be a success no matter what he did. Whether I didn't know he wanted to get in coaching back then. I don't think he did either. He was just a football player that got around some good coaches and said, "I want to do that too."
You talked about it in the beginning, but can you just talk about a little bit more what Corleone brings to their defense and what makes him such a talented player?
He lines over the center, in a zero technique, and he just causes havoc in the backfield. I mean. He's explosive. He's only about 6'2", maybe 6'2.5", but he just causes havoc in the backfield. We're gonna. It starts with him. You got to control the line of scrimmage, and it's really a key to victory every week is really just to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, and that'll be a lot of focus on what he's doing in there.
Does it say something about the maturity of your group with the way that they played on Saturday?
Yeah, it does, Will. That's something that we went into into the game with I threw right up on these screens just all our 1AA scores in the first couple of years that were an overtime to Youngstown stands out to me, a 17-14 win at Delaware. I don't have them all memorized, but then I went down to kind of put a blank space and then looked at the last 3 years of what we've done, and last year wasn't a great one in my opinion. But just the mature teams took care of business, and the immature teams kind of thought, well, this will be easy. That to me, I think I mentioned that in the press conference afterward, just the maturity that they took, the buy-in to what they're not going, okay, coach, yeah, these guys are good, okay. And let me go back and tell you, I watch a lot of 1AA football, play other teams, and Wofford is a well-coached team on both sides of the ball. They are sound. Okay, they're not like, what are they doing? Like they didn't, they weren't giving you anything. They played deep coverage. They weren't going to let. I mean, even though Bub ran through the coverage one time, we got a crossing route open, and again, you got to hit it. But they're sound. They got two guys on the thing. Maybe they couldn't run, but they're still going to make you put it right there. The guys weren't wide open. So Wofford was very, very sound, and I give them a lot of credit for taking care of business, and they looked well coached on tape. You're not going, what is that? That's the most unsound. You didn't say that when you watch tape.
Does that alleviate any concerns you might have? I mean, obviously you got an actual rivalry game next week. About your boys, your guys looking ahead at all? Like you're pretty.
Yeah, I would say they're locked into game one, and hopefully they'll be locked into game two. And again, my job again to make sure they don't overlook anybody. But I don't know how you'd overlook a team that was in the playoffs a couple years ago and is really a good football team. So, and they got talent, they got speed, and again, state of Ohio, they get a lot of Ohio kids. They're a good football team.
At the end of the game, or toward the end of the game, they had the deep ball that went up against Ryland. What are some coaching notes that you have for him? He kind of got thrown to the ground to play. Like, how do you coach him past that moment? Like,
stay on your feet. Stay on your feet. And then a safety is supposed to be a safety, right? He's supposed to be, help that guy out. So, it's just one of those plays that could happen to anybody. And, you aren't a corner unless you've gotten beat deep before. And, to me, it's like one of those check the box. Okay, Ryland, every time you step on that field and you do one-on-ones, and we do deep ball drill every single day out there, every one of those counts. And you can be good on 12 of the 12. That 13th one's going to get you. And, I haven't seen him do anything like that on the field, but just when he gets into one-on-ones tomorrow morning, it's going to be like, okay, here we go. This is my time to learn from that, and I'm going to stay on my feet. And I don't care if they throw you, grab you, and throw you down to the ground. If they don't call it, then we got to stay up. We got to make a play.
If that had been in another game situation, would you have had a conversation with the official?
You know what? I'm done having conversations. I just, I thought, MJ's, was a good call as well. And let's get off the officials.
I just thought.
Why are you talking about?
I just thought of that question.
They did a nice job, but
I had another one for you.
it was not easy. Not an easy job at all. And I thought they did a great job.
Pat, what the decision to you're up big late and you get Christian to throw the ball, was that just trying to, hey, look, we might need this guy at some point this season. We need to get this as a chance to get him, not just turn around and hand the ball off and end the game?
No question about it. I mean, you're looking to get reps and get your guys playing football. I mean, you just can't sit back there and hand it off and go, hey, Christian, you didn't do a good job. We want to give him an opportunity. He's got to learn from it. No different than anybody else learning from what they do. You can't learn as a quarterback to go in there and just, we want to see him operate the offense. And it's going to help later on when and if that situation happens. We're going to have a lot of faith in him, but we got to coach him up, and he needs to improve as well. That's what games are for.
Did Carter earn another start?
I don't know. This week in practice, I mean, we got 3 starters. A lot of it will be based on practice. And again, Daniels was really based on, I would say camp, and just he grinded it out and was there every day. Didn't miss a day at all. So, that was probably an offensive decision.
Coach Powell's always looking for somebody to emerge, and you said the same thing. Is it hard though for somebody to emerge, doesn't somebody have to get more opportunities than somebody else? I mean, to get some guys get better. Like Rodney's a guy I would think that the more he gets the ball, maybe the more effective he might be.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, we'll see that when again, you earn your reps. You get out there. If you get 10 carries, you get 10 carries. What'd you do with those carries? Did you make did you make the right read? Did you hit it? Did you get hit? Did you fall down? Did you make somebody miss? I mean, making somebody miss and being your own blockers is critical. As a running back.
additional.
Coach, Montrevious Lloyd came out of high school as a receiver and as a running back, and against Wofford, he both ran the ball 5 times and caught a pass for 7 yards. Do you like what you see out of him in those positions? Do you see him?
Yeah, I don't think he had a great day running the ball, but he got his 5 carries in. Again, he'll learn. If we need him later on in the year, I think he's explosive. He's got hands out of the backfield. He showed that just by catching the ball. But he's fearless. He's only going to get better. You get those game reps, and you look at it, and then he'll get that all cleaned up. I think he'll be much better when he does get that next opportunity. So, we'll see where that goes. He's got 4 games, and we can use one of those games there, and we'll find out, how that depth in that running back room goes, and use them when we need to. You'd like to redshirt him, but who knows?
Which one of the young guys stood out that you maybe weren't expecting to stand out in Cincinnati?
You know what? They're just none. Kenny Johnson had plays we didn't. They just played so deep that we couldn't get what we wanted there. But I guess we'll find out later on. We'll find out more this week and next week, I guess.